Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel, Rebecca, Stu, and the crew. I'm Rebecca, and today we're going to make these two towel and key holders from items that you can find at the Dollar Tree. So the first thing we're going to go over is what supplies you're going to need to recreate this craft for yourself. You're going to need one of these Always Stay Humble and Kind placemats and one of the dark blue Home Sweet Home placemats. You're also going to need two of these splatter screens, one of these wall hooks, and one of these towel holders. You're also going to need a pair of scissors, and then you will need some of this floral wire. You're going to need some twine to make some bows to hide some of the little pieces, and then you're also going to need some hot glue and a piece of paper or two. You're also going to need some wire cutters, but it is optional. You don't have to cut down the hooks if you don't want to. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take the little handle out of the splatter screen. So once that black piece is out, you're going to bend the handle forward and backwards and then give it a squeeze right up here at the top. And then what you're going to do, once you get that over top of itself a little bit by giving it a squeeze, you can pull the one side out fairly easily. I mean, you got to give it a little bit of a tug, but it's not that hard, as you can see here. And then pull the other side out and then just toss that aside because you're not going to need that. So now I'm going to take my paper and I am going to use this as a template. So I'm going to lay it on top of the splatter screen and just trace it around the inside lip with my finger just to create like the little pattern here. And this is going to help me know where to cut out my placemat so that I can use this as a frame. So now that I've got that all traced there, you can use a pencil if you want to. It was easier to use my finger because it really helped to get the inside edge of that splatter mat there. So now we're going to go ahead and just cut this out. Once it's all cut out, all we're going to do now is lay that on top of our placemat, and then we're going to go ahead and use like a pencil or a pen or of some kind and trace over top of the placemat where we want to cut it. So since both of these placemats have like almost like its own wreath on the outside edge of that, it helps to center it and then put that paper over top of there to go into the splatter screen. So we're just going to cut this out. That's pretty easy to do, and then we're going to check to see how it fits inside of the splatter screen before we continue. So if you cut it the right way, they kind of just pop right in under the little edge right there. So I do end up putting glue at the end here to hold it in to make sure it stays, but you don't have to do that. So we're going to cut both mats to size and then set those aside while we attach the hooks to the back of these. So we're going to make sure that we center that where the handle was down at the bottom, so it helps to hide that. So I chose to cut my little hooks down so they aren't visible at the side. So I'm just going to mark where I have to cut those. I had really pretty big heavy duty wire cutters just because I have them. You could use something else. It really isn't that hard to cut through. They're pretty thin, so don't be overwhelmed or discouraged by the size of these wire cutters here. You really don't need anything that big. I just kind of scored it a little bit. I didn't even cut all the way through, and then I just wiggle it back and forth and it just pops right off, as you can see here. So I do both sides, and then once that's finished, we're going to go ahead and start attaching this to the splatter screen. So again, make sure you have your center down at the bottom there, and then we're going to take some of that floral crafting wire and we're going to start attaching it. So basically you're going to put this on almost like you're sewing on a button. You're just going to do a little X across it and just go through the little holes of the splatter screen just like you would if you were going through the holes of a button. So you're just going to pop the wire through. Once that's through, see, we've got the one side done. We're going to do it again to make an X. Like I said, just like you're sewing on a button, and you could do it a few times. I did the center a few times and then it was on there pretty secure, so I really didn't find it necessary to do it a whole bunch on the sides, but I did do it above each hook on both sides, just one time each there, and then you're going to twist it pretty tight in the back to hold that on. And then that was pretty easy. So you're just going to go ahead and cut those wires down, and now we're going to go to the towel rack here. So I'm also going to use the nippers here to cut that down a little bit, because I don't want that edge at the top there. It's not going to go over a cupboard door, so I needed the back of that flat. You could also just bend them flat, so you don't have to cut them. So once I figure out where I want this one, I'm going to do this one a little bit different. So I'm going to take some hot glue and put it on the front of the screen so it goes down through there, and it helps hold this towel holder in place for me while I'm going to be using the wire to attach that. And you pretty much attach it in the same way. Just make sure you go under that down ledge at the bottom there and really wrap it kind of tight to make sure that you're holding it secure in place, so when you put a towel on it, it's not going to come off. So like I said, if you use the wire pretty tight and twist it pretty tight and just go over it a few times, it is really not going to go anywhere. It doesn't look like it's going to hold, but trust me, it holds. So then I put a little bit of hot glue on the back of that crafting wire just to make sure it doesn't come undone, but also to keep it from scratching the back of the wall when I hang it. So I don't want to scratch any paint and things like that. So now I'm going to attach a little twine hanger through the mesh screen here before I put the placemat back in the middle for the picture. So I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on there just to help hold it into place. And make sure you have something under this when you're putting the hot glue down, because it is a screen, so the glue does drip through a little bit. So now I decided to go ahead and put a little bit of the glue on here just to make sure that it is going to stay in place when I put it on the frame here. But you don't have to do the glue. If you cut it down to size correctly, it does just pop under that little ledge there of the splatter screen that we're using as a frame. So once you get that in place, if you use the glue, just go ahead and push that down and make sure you have it centered. So take your time, don't rush with this. And you could also use the E6000 glue. You don't have to use hot glue. So then I went ahead and I want to decorate the edge just a little bit. So I used a little bit of glue and I put one row of twine all the way around it just to kind of help decorate it a little bit. So once I do all that, I just make a couple of these little twine bows to decorate it, to kind of tie it all together. And so I put that down like in front of the towel holder edges, and then I put one at the top just to kind of give it a 3D appearance here a little bit. And so that is the towel holder. That one's all the way done. And then I did the same process for the center of the key holder here, so it's the same thing, so I don't want to be redundant and show it twice. So here they are hanging up. They turned out really cute. They don't move. The little things that you use to hang everything on are on there pretty secure, so I was really happy with how this turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I post DIY and craft videos on Wednesdays, and then I post a new Dollar Tree video every single Friday. Here are some other videos you might also enjoy, and I hope you have an awesome week.